entertained? Are you not entertained? Every time.
Welcome, anime community. It's Almighty Geek back today with another Jujutsu Kaisen video. After chapter 236, there is a lot to talk about. One of the main things that I want to get off my chest and talk about when it comes to this chapter was Sukuna's versatility and learning how to adapt to Gojo's infinity through Mahoraga. That in of itself could have been a whole chapter alone explaining how that happened, just giving us just a good explanation on how that went down, because my only concern about this chapter is when Sukuna does go on to explain how he was able to adapt to Gojo's infinity, we weren't able to see the actual slash. You see what I'm trying to say? Like, okay, you explained it, but when did it happen? Just tell me, because again, the chapter that we got 2 weeks ago, Gojo was standing up and was kind of announced as the victor. So when did it happen? When did it go from him standing up to him being cut in half? Because when we do go back a couple of chapters, referring to chapter 233, 234, and 235, we do get to see Mahoraga grab Gojo, pull him down, pull him back up, and we see him slash him across his chest. And that was that. Afterwards, the next successful attack that we see from Mahoraga comes later on when Sukuna wanted Mahoraga to stop playing around and show him something different. After which he, again, we see the wheel spin. At that moment, Gojo gets his arm cut off. But I will say, at that moment, they do show Sukuna saying lovely, and he does have that curious look on his face. And I can probably say at that moment, that's when he learned how to truly to adapt to Gojo's infinity. Because again, after this chapter reveal, we can kind of determine at that point, that's when Sukuna kind of figured out how to bypass or officially bypass Gojo's infinity. And again, it would make sense. I just want to know, at what point in time did Sukuna actually activate his attack on Gojo? That's all. Unless Gege did something on purpose, like he did that on purpose, and we might get another chapter later on revealing what actually took place. All we can do for the moment is go based off of what Sukuna explained. Let's take a dive into that, shall we? Let's take a dive into what Sukuna actually explained in chapter 236. Sukuna says that Mahoraga's adaptation can start after only a single attack, then it slowly starts to analyze, after which its completion is only a matter of time. Which we understand that part, we got that, we knew that as soon as Mahoraga showed up on the battlefield and popped out, we knew that was the case. But he even goes on to further say if it receives another additional identical attack during this calculation period, the adaptation accelerates. And I'm at that point like, yo, that is crazy. Which, if you're asking me, I definitely feel that part at least caught Gojo all off guard, guys. All off guard. Because with Gojo, I know he was probably thinking that every time the wheel spins, it adapts. So he's probably thinking he might have, like he said a couple of chapters ago, maybe 1 or 2 more spins before Mahoraga truly adapts to his infinity. Which is why he took his chance in the last chapter and hit him with a hollow purple point blank rage. At which point we see the will, but we don't see Mahoraga. Like, it looks like he's completely obliterated at this point. But let's continue with the explanation. He says once a technique is adapted to, the analysis doesn't stop there, it continues to adapt further. Which again, guys, we knew that was the main thing. We knew that that's what Sukuna was banking on. He was banking on Mahoraga adapting enough for him to finish this battle. But this is the part that truly gets me, is when he goes on to say, what I wanted from Mahoraga was a model of how to tear through your infinity. So basically throughout this whole battle, the moment he activated Mahoraga, it was just so that Sukuna himself would be able to eventually pick up on how to bypass Gojo's infinity. Which I can honestly say I did not see that one coming. He basically just sat back for most of the fight, just waiting for Mahoraga not to win, but to show him how to actually adapt, an opening to how to defeat Gojo's infinity, which is crazy to me. That is bonkers. He continues to say that Mahoraga basically altered the essence of his own curse energy in order to neutralize and nullify GoJo's infinity. Sukuna explains that was something that he could not do himself, and he just simply waited and bided his time for Mahoraga to find a new and different way to adapt to GoJo's infinity so he could take full advantage of it. Again, crazy. He goes on to say the second adaptation was exactly what I've been anticipating, because at that point, Mahoraga wasn't sending slashes flying across the battlefield like Sukuna does. It was expanding its technique, meaning instead of trying to slash GoJo directly himself, it extended the target to not just GoJo but the space itself and the entire world existence itself. Yo. And we legit just knows what that means. If you're cutting the world, if you're cutting the space in between, that means GoJo can be hit too. And we see it in this chapter. We see GoJo split in half. Like, GoJo was playing chess, and I'll give him that, but Sukuna was on 3D level. He was playing 3D chess. Like, Sukuna was up here flexing with not only just his abilities, but his strategic skills as well. Like, that was beyond me, because I expected when it comes to more of the strategic maneuvers, that was going to go to GoJo. But it does not seem to be the case, man. Sukuna had him wrapped up when it comes to that too. But what I want to know, and my whole thing is that, so does that mean Sukuna can just slash through anything now? Like just slash through? Because before, again, it took, and he just hit you with an infinite amount of slashes, what at that exact moment can kill you, or if you were able to heal and had endurance, you can survive, as we saw GoJo basically doing throughout this battle. But from what he explained towards the end, I'm like, does that mean you can instantly just cut through anything now? Like, all your slashes can just bypass anything? Because if so, that is crazy. That's crazy, man. Which brings me to my next point. Like, we know towards the end of the chapter, the Thunder God Hajime, he shows up. But seriously, we just saw the number one sorcerer of this new generation get split in half. Cut down the middle. Cut in half by the King of Curses. What are you going to do? What are you going to do, truly? Like, what do you think you're going to do to Sukuna? Let me know that. If he wasn't even going full out against GoJo, I just need to know, what are you going to do? The anticipation for next week's chapter for me is just, it's out of here, guys. Especially since we don't have a break and we can just get straight into it. Hajime, I just gotta know, bro. What are you gonna do differently? If, again, guys, we are fans of Jujutsu Kaisen. What do you feel he's going to do differently that GoJo couldn't do? Let me know in the comments below, guys. Because I need to know this. This has been racking my brain for this whole week, man. One of the best shonen fights, period. This, we had, what, 13 or 14 chapters of a fight. When do we get that? That's some old school-ish right there. When do we really get that now? But guys, that's all I really had to say. Like, the way Sukuna explained the way he adapted himself. Screw Mahoraga, himself learning how to adapt through him. That is crazy, bruh. That is crazy. But again, let me know how you guys felt about this chapter. Let me know how you feel about Sukuna actually using the adaptation. Jesus Christ, that is crazy. Guys, until the next video, this has been your boy, Almighty Geek. Peace, love, and deuces.